There we go. Hey, everybody, and welcome to the evening stream. I have not talked to you guys in a few weeks. Excited to talk to you and do a little recap of what's happening in the real estate game in Virginia Beach and Williamsburg, etc. But really answer some questions for you guys as well. The main thing is I want to talk about some spots that I think are based on the cost of living now, really the prices of housing right now. There's some spots that I think are good spots to focus on into the 2022 end of season, into the 2023 season. That I think if you're looking at different price ranges, I'm trying to find the best spots that you might be able to get the best bang for buck for those price ranges. That can be anywhere from 200 up through 6, 7, 8, and over than that, closer to $1 million. So I want to get into that. And if you have any questions, if you're watching from any different location, please let me know. I'm very curious to know where you're watching from. That's always important for me. I like to hear from you, and whether it be this area, this Hampton Roads area, whether it be the whole United States, or it could be the whole world, anywhere. Let me know. I'm very curious to know where you guys are watching from. And if you've got any questions, feel free to also post them in the comments as well next to the video. And I will be watching those as I'm going, answering questions as we go along. Excuse me. So what I'll do first is talk about the areas, some areas I think are important to look at. And again, I will be checking those comments as we go along. So I want to pop up my map as well to show you, as I talk about those neighborhoods, the best places to live in different price ranges. I'm going to show you on the map what I'm talking about, and then do some street views and whatnot. So doing an aerial view of the Hampton Roads area, you see Williamsburg in the northwestern side, and then Virginia Beach on the southeastern side. I'm going to focus first on Virginia Beach, and I'm going to give some pivot options from Virginia Beach into different other cities, specifically Chesapeake right now, because those are the two cities that have seemingly really gone up the most in price in the fastest period of time. So as people have been targeting those cities, I'm looking at those areas that are good options, alternate options, that maybe you've been looking for a house since March and you've been seeing prices increase. And now the house you can get for $550 now might be $600. And you're thinking, well, where else can I go and find this, the same or a similar type of house for the same original price that I was originally looking for? So that's what we're going to do today. Excuse me. I'm going to look at first Virginia Beach into the western side of the city. So we're going to go into, I'm going to show you the back to the map and zoom out. You'll see Virginia Beach is, different parts of Virginia Beach have different prices, and there's different costs to be in different parts of town. So what I started looking first is I wanted to start looking in the 200 to 300 price range, because there are a lot of people that are looking for anything that's affordable. I mean, just, an alternate to just open to renting for $1,500 a month or $1,700 a month, because even rent has gone up. They want something that's entry level just to get into the market. And so what I found is, first of all, in the 200 to 300 price range, there are fewer single family houses in Virginia Beach that really work for a lot of people. So I've found that there are some good options that might be attached houses that might be good spots. Number one, and I've mentioned this several times in conversations with people, is right in the kind of the center of the area is the town center. And in town center, this used to be an older part of town around Pembroke, kind of just a not much happening part of the area. Some shops, Pembroke Mall, which was really, to me, an awful mall, but they have since redone it. Not that specific mall. They're going to be reconforming that into a totally different type of living or of area. It's not going to be a mall anymore. But around there, in the last 20 years, a downtown area has been developed. And so just south of there is an area called Columbus Station. And then there's apartments and condos in that section. And the condos are in the $200 and $225-ish thousand price range in this Ferdinand Circle area just south of town center. You can literally walk or bike up into town center real easily. I'll drop a pin. Constitution Drive will take you right into town center. So you'll see the street here. This street, if you turn in the Columbus Station, see these condos here. This is what I'm talking about. There's some apartments over there. There are people walking right there on the street view. Cross over the railroad tracks. It's fine. It's, I mean, not very far. There you are. There's town center right here. And I still feel like this is a pretty underrated place to live. And 225, 2-bedroom condos. If you want something just to get in the market in that price range, in that size, this is a great spot. You can walk through all of this stuff in town center. Great restaurants. There's Roost Chris. There's great restaurant, Italian restaurant Bravo, Funny Bones right there. So it's not huge, but it's a great downtown to be close to. And I love being close to this downtown. And so if I was looking in this price range and wanted a condo that could turn into a potential good rental opportunity because of where it is, I think this is a great section. Now, moving away from there, there are some other spots close by. So Southwest and West Virginia Beach has some good value in it. Fairfield is another great spot. There are some single family houses that are a bit higher on the 4 to 450 to 500, low fives price ranges that are like detached ranch, some 2-story, and I'll just drop a pin here. You'll find a lot of these style houses in Virginia Beach, western side specifically because of when these houses were built. That is, I mean, I like these a lot. You have lots of great foliage, great trees. It's very quiet in here, and you're also very convenient to other shopping. But if you look across the street from Fairfield, there are also Fairfield condos. So these townhouses right here are in the 250, 260, 270 range, first of all, very convenient. And then behind there is Fairfield Commons. These are in the low twos as well. And so it's similar to what you'd find over in Columbus Square, similar floor plans, really the same floor plans. And so if you're close to a lot of shopping, it's hard to find things that are in that kind of location and that close to shopping, close to access, close to roads that takes you other places. Close to Witch Duck Road, which is a nice long road, 264 and 64 are very close. So this whole section here, but specifically Fairfield condos, is another great place to focus on. And then there are some other spots near there that I think are in the similar price ranges as well. But if you leave there and just go further south, there's an area called Chatham Hall, which is off of Lord Dunmore Drive. These are in the low 300s. These are detached houses. So if you want a detached house in the low 300s in an area that's very convenient, you're going to be giving up some land size in Chatham Hall. You can see kind of the size of the houses here. They're closer together. But for what you're paying for a detached house, in the proximity to all the things that you're getting, like the shopping access, Kroger, Harris Teeter's close by, a lot of other stuff, Walmart, etc. These are great spots, great options for that price range. You're also close to Providence Road. You're close to Indian River Road. You can get pretty much anywhere in a very quick, easy period span of time. And good restaurants too. Cinema Cafe, you saw Cinema Cafe right there. One of my favorite Mexican restaurants that my parents and wife and I go to almost every week. Where is it? Right here, Camino Real. There it is. Great Mexican restaurant. So this section, even in general, comparing if you have Whitehurst Landing, which is just south of Fairfield, or just south of Lord Dunmore and Chatham Hall, Fairfield, you can go over to Fairfield Commons. This whole section is great for the price and even cheaper compared to even if you go just over a little bit to Bellamy Woods, Bellamy Manor. This area is great as well, but a little bit higher price in the 450 to 550 price range. So if you're kind of getting over this area, this western side, and you want a little bit of option and some other alternatives, come over to the east side. The east side has, if you're looking for school districts, this area, if you want to be in the 200s, it's hard to find, but you can find it on the far eastern side over near Ocean Lakes. The actual Ocean Lakes neighborhood, the townhouse side of the neighborhood, as well as the single family houses, both, you can find the townhouses in the low or the mid to upper 200s. And then you've got the single family houses that are going to be in this section here that are closer to 325, 350, low 300s. But you're in one of the possibly the number one, according to niche.com, school district in all of Virginia Beach, which is that's saying something. And some of these spots are going to be in like Red Mill Village. This is Red Mill Village here. This even this is going to be the mid to upper threes. But if you can be in Red Mill itself and even in the low fours, this area is a great option. So let me scan over here, go over to, where is the rest of Ocean Lakes? Right, Chaw. And drop a pin over into the rest of Ocean Lakes. These are the single family houses here. Again, you can get something in here in the 350, 360, 370 price range, maybe even cheaper than that. And there's a nice HOA here, a large HOA. There's a pool. And also next to that is Pine Meadows, which is another good option in the low 4s, but upper 3s as well. So this whole section of, that was Pine Meadows originally. I'm sorry, I dropped a pin there. But if you go just south there, you'll get into Ocean Lakes and the rest of Red Mill. So this whole section, Red Mill, Ocean Lakes, Pine Meadows, I would focus on if you're going to be anywhere in that upper 2s to lower 4s, but mid to upper 3s specifically, if you want to be in this area. And the drawback would be here, you're going to be dealing with some jet noise because of where it is in relation to the Oceana Naval Air Station. You're going to hear a lot of it in this part of town. So it's not all perfect, but for the price, I think you're going to get some great options for the price and to be in that school district. So moving on from there, I mentioned Red Mill Village, number 1 or number 2, and I mentioned Pine Meadows, but that's all in that $300,000 to $400,000 price range. If you want to go alternatively in the 3 to 4 range, but you want a little bit more space, there is one neighborhood I think is worth keeping in your mind called Woods of Avalon. Woods of Avalon, no one really talks about Woods of Avalon much. Here it is right here. This is a kind of a larger land size area. It's just off of Providence Road. If you see right here, Providence Road is a long road that connects from more closer to the central part of Virginia Beach into the western side. It's also close to Interstate 64, which makes it a very convenient location close to Norfolk and part of Chesapeake, etc. But Woods of Avalon is nice because you'll see a lot of larger, or at least some more spread out aspects to the neighborhood. So dropping a pin in here, you'll see this is this long Avalon Avenue right here, but you see some of these larger land sizes. These are a bit large. These are a bit higher price, upper 450 and up. But if you come off of Avalon Avenue, and where is the next intersection? It's coming up. It should be coming up right here. Where is it? There's some new houses. There it is. Yeah, there it is. Coming off here is this is Lancelot. Yeah, there's a lot of sort of what is it? What's the name of the Robin Hood? Like kind of like that time period names in here. Lancelot. There are a couple others like that. It's King Arthur. You got 350 to 425, sometimes 450 in here, but you notice that there's a little bit more. The lot sizes are a bit wider in some spots, but you also find a little bit more of a blending of the lots itself. So you don't really see, if you're trying to spread out, but you don't really, you're not like real cut and dry as to this of like your own lot. You need to have specific barriers, and there are people that have fences in here. It's not like they don't have fences, but you notice that it's a little more flex. It's like the neighborhood kind of breathe a little bit more, right? And so for the price for what you're getting for the size of the lots, you can get a nice house in here in that low 4s price range. Here's one of the drawbacks to being in this area is that you're close to 64. Okay, so I'm gonna do an aerial view to show you what I'm talking about. So Lancelot Drive. Where is King Arthur? There's King Arthur Drive right here. I had a friend who used to live on King Arthur Drive up against 64. Well, there's a sound barrier right here. You can't really see it very well. Yeah, there it is right there. That sound barrier helps with the noise coming on the Beltway on 64. But if you're in this general area, especially on the side, but in this general area, you will hear traffic like that white noise going on 64, and it's an interstate, so you're gonna hear it quite a bit. So if you don't want that, I definitely wouldn't suggest living near here, but I would still pay attention as you come off here about a block or two, because you're going to definitely notice it as you get closer to that interstate. But otherwise, for the price, you get that Avalon Hill, Woods of Avalon Park back here. There are some flood zone things happening near the river. So I would keep that in mind as well, just for pricing purposes. That's part of why some of those spots are a bit cheaper, because the flood zones are making the payments increase a little bit. Otherwise, still, it's not all like that, but just keep that in mind as you're looking as well. So coming out of Avalon Hills, or Woods of Avalon, excuse me, there are a couple others further south in this whole area in Tallwood High School District, Brigadoon, Acredale. some neighborhoods in here that are great for the 400 price range. And I'm going to talk about these in future videos as well as parts that I think just need to get more respect. Things that neighborhoods that need to get more respect. And so anywhere near Tallwood, I think is one of my favorite bang for buck spots because of the location, proximity to the interstate, proximity to grocery stores, just real nice neighborhoods, close access to parks, close to Chesapeake, a lot of stuff. And you're close to Back Bay Farmhouse. So this is right here is Brigadoon, right in here. And then going further south from there is Charlestown Lakes, which is down further south. And then also Acredale, which is the other one I think is worth mentioning. That's near here. That's really interesting if you want cheaper and also that's kind of that relaxed feel, similar to Avalon Wood. Or I keep saying Avalon Woods. Woods of Avalon is in that area called Acredale, which is just off of Indian River Road. And I'm going to show you there is Acredale right here. Well, if you zoom out near Indian Lakes, which is another great spot, this whole area is great for what I'm talking about. Acredale, if you drop a pin in, let's go to right there. Oops, that's a print. So let's go. That's not what I wanted. So you get to see all of the trial and error and the user error that I have here. So congratulations. Let's go to Burlington Road. I know that's part of Acredale. So dropping in there, you notice here, see there's ditches often on the sides of the roads, no sidewalks, a little bit more narrow roads. But again, the houses, sometimes you can get a little bit smaller house for the size for the price, $350, $375, and no real, like it's wider. There are some fences, but it kind of has that country element feel to it in the middle of Virginia Beach. So I like that, and I like what you get for this area for the price in here if you want something that's a little bit smaller. Now, part of the issue with southwestern Virginia Beach, if this is an issue to you, is that there are often houses built in the 60s and 50s. If you don't want that, you need to start going further further east to get more options, a more higher propensity of options that are in the 90s, 2000s and up. But if you stay in this western side, this is where a lot of the area was developed first in this section, including also further north as well in the 50s and 60s too. So this is kind of an older part of town, but you'll still see some newer stuff in here. But some of those nicer lot sizes usually come from older lots, and so you don't see as much of that happening nowadays right now. So that's also in the $350,000, $400,000 price range in Acredale. Now, if you want to pivot from Virginia Beach, and here we go. So I got some questions. I'm sorry. Stop there. Yeah. David. Yeah. Gotcha. Hey, Cindy. You commented earlier. Thank you. Thanks for commenting. Very close to Lake Stream for fishing. Which one are you talking about, David? Are you talking about Acredale or somewhere else? Let me know. Chris, do a show on the insane speeding laws, please. Wish I knew before I moved here. Others should be warned. Funny you mentioned that. I just got into an accident today. Not my fault, but it was not involving this. There was no speeding involved. It was a turn situation where they turned into oncoming traffic. But when you say speeding laws, do you mean speeding laws in relation to the actual? Like, so a lot of people go 75 and a 55, or do you mean the speed limits themselves are lower than they should be? Or what do you mean by that? If you could clarify, because it can be a bit nuts in some spots based on what I've heard from people talking from other locations and me just driving from other places as well. But hey Trey, one area that people would want to keep in mind with flood zone is definitely the Rosemont area near Chimney Hill, but it's a good area. Although that's a good point, Trey, especially near Princess Anne Plaza and Windsor Woods in spots. Not all of Windsor Woods. West side of Windsor Woods, there are some spots that don't have it, but closer to the Bow Creek Golf Course, there are some spots that have the largest amount of flood zone or flood insurance required. Chris, and the property taxes on cars. Yeah. I hear that's not always the case in other places as well. Yeah. Reckless driving for 20 over the limit. Meaning that's a problem. The fact that 20 and over is reckless. Virginia Beach itself has some very specific, some strict traffic laws, especially for alcohol-related traffic laws as well. So they don't play around too much with their traffic or with their alcohol things. If you're caught drinking and driving, that can be a big issue. So they take that very seriously in Virginia Beach. So moving back into which areas I'm talking about. Oh, so if we don't want Virginia Beach and you just think, hey, I just want to pivot to Chesapeake, depending on what school district you want might influence whether or not you think you want to pivot to to Chesapeake. Because, for example, if you want to be in the low $300,000 price range and you're like, hey, I don't want to do the townhouse thing. I don't really feel like Ocean Lakes. I can't get 325, for example, in Ocean Lakes and get what I want. And I don't like the older houses in, for example, Acredale for 350. You can pivot into Greenbrier and Ashley Woods and also Logan's Mill, excuse me. And just parts of Greenbrier in general. Like there's some neighborhoods over there that just have some smaller houses, but they can work really well. So I'll drop a pin in here. So if you look at Eden Way in here, this is Greenbrier. I love Greenbrier. It's extremely central, tons of shopping, restaurants, Buffalo Wild Wings. I like Buffalo Wild Wings. I used to until I ate healthier chicken, I suppose. Greenbrier Mall is kind of run down. It's getting worse. Not a big. I used to love it, but it's not a thing anymore. But still plenty of shopping in this area. But Greenbrier, in the general area of Greenbrier, has some houses. I'll drop a pin into some of the single family houses that are smaller. So this is basically right off of near Greenbrier. These houses you can see some in like the 1,300 square foot range, 16, 17, 18. You can get houses in here in the low 300s. And if you want that, you can have access to a park right nearby. I used to run through here all the time. I had a friend that lived just up the road. I love this area if you want something that is convenient and you don't mind such a not a huge house. You can get houses in there possibly around 2,000 square feet, maybe around the 360, 350 range. But for value, I love getting this general area of Greenbrier. You'll see Bayberry Farm or Bayberry Woods, which is next to it, which has there's actually a wood sign right there, which is a bit smaller. There's some townhouses over here as well. Mill Lake Quarter is the name of the townhouse area over there for low 200s, getting into the mid 200s, but still low for the most part right now. It's a park over here to the right. You're close to a great golf course called Greenbrier Country Club. It's a lake over there. There's sidewalks. You can walk through here. I've done a lot of running in this area myself. I just love this part of town. And again, you're close to all that shopping as well. Do the aerial view. And you're close to Bayberry Woods, which is another nice one in the 4s, low 5s, but mainly like mid to upper 4s. And has a similar element to parts of Virginia Beach. This whole area is great if you want to be under 450, 500, but mainly even in the 3s. However, the drawback in this area and part of the price demand is because it is in Indian River School District. Indian River, depending on what you're looking for, it might be totally fine, but check up ratings. You'll see that it's rated a lot lower than others you might see in Virginia Beach. So that's part of why it's cheaper, in my opinion. So that's number one. Number two, if you want to pivot into another part of the area that is in the same school district, but a bit higher price, you can get a real nice house in a couple of places, mainly specifically Kemp Woods, which is similar part of the area, but over off of Kempsville Road. You see right here, this is Kemp Woods off of Shenandoah Parkway. See Kempsville Road right here? You notice it goes all the way up. Kempsville Road's a long road, but Kemp Woods is fantastic because, where'd it go? There it is, Shenandoah. Because you can get a larger house in here, 3,000 plus square feet in cases, 2,800 square feet for anywhere from the upper 4s, but mostly 5s and 6s. You'll see some a bit higher, but mostly if you can get a house in here in the mid 5s or the low 6s, you're doing really well. There are some in here that are still dated, and that's why you can get a good deal in here, like even in the mid 6s. You can get a good deal in here for what you're getting the size wise. And you can just redo the house, get a great floor plan. It's getting to be more modern in these types of houses because you've got 80s style houses, which can be still compartmentalized, but you're getting a more open floor plan. It's becoming more open. You're noticing the trend to open in the 80s start. So you're seeing that kind of thing in some of these larger houses first. And so they look kind of boxy. They still can be boxy with plenty of rooms, but you're seeing more houses of these either already floor plan, or they already open, or they've been opened by people who have lived there. So Kemp Woods is a great neighborhood right off of Kempsville Road. I love that neighborhood for the prices, again, in the 5s and 6s primarily. And then, so pivoting over into other parts of Chesapeake. Chris, answer your question. Reckless 20 over misdemeanor charges for doing 81 on I-264. Yeah, I've heard that is uncommon compared to other places for sure. Richard, hey, Norfolk, Virginia. Hey, welcome. Glad you're here. Chris, oceanfront. Yeah, I totally hear that. Trey, what exactly is the deal with downtown Virginia Beach that is near the interstate? I've heard that shops are closing. Specificity, the mall area. So to quickly answer your question, Trey, I think what you're talking about is the fact that Pembroke Mall is closing or has closed. So what they had to do was they had to give notice to the tenants in Pembroke Mall that they were going to be closing up. I thought it was like the end of January they had to leave. It was a while back. They're going to be turning that into, I believe it's going to be primarily a senior center, living center in Pembroke Mall area. I think that's the primary thing. I don't know if they're going to be doing any other things in that building. It's a big building. I'll drop a pin on that building so you can see how big it is. But it's connected to Target, connected to Kohl's. You can't really see it from there, can you? That's not super helpful. There's the mall right there. So this whole big block is going to become something new. And I think it's going to become a senior center. And I think they might be adding it over in this section as well. I don't want to get ahead of myself over my skis here, but that's the general trajectory of what's happening over here, to my knowledge, which is why you're seeing all these residents leave. Not over here, to my knowledge at all. It's really in Pembroke Mall. And there's a British restaurant, British like items, like knick-knack store that sells all English things from England. Don't remember what it's called. I think it's called a Bit of England. They had to move, and there was a big story in the Virginian Pilot about them moving. They ended up getting a place off of, I think it was Holland Road, just south of here, over near, I think it's in this shopping center near Plaza Aztec, I believe, or somewhere in this same general area. I think this is where they ended up moving to, but I don't know for sure. Anyway, stores are getting displaced is the conclusion there. So I think that's what you're asking about. So going back to more of the same, or not more of the same, different neighborhoods I think that are worth mentioning. The next one going back into Chesapeake is going to be Albemarle Acres. Albemarle Acres I mentioned recently before because I like it for, it's kind of similar to like what Acredale is, sort of. It's got that old brick ranch style, but it was built in the time period that you can see a little bit larger lot sizes. But I like it too because it's in the Hickory School District. So where am I? Great Bridge. Where am I at here? There we go. Where is the daggone bridge? Oh, here we go. Yeah. So zoom in. Bear with me, guys. I'm drawing there we go. A wrong bridge. There's Albemarle Acres right here. So drop a pin. There's two sides of it. One side has smaller brick ranch style. The other has newer, like 80s, 90s style. Not as much the ranches, but there's much more so two-story. You can get ranches in here in the threes, like the mid $300,000 price ranges. You get the nice yard size, fantastic for the school district, all things considered. 3-bedroom, 2-bath, 3-bedroom, 1.5 bath. That's another hack you can use to get into a nicer neighborhood, is getting an area that has 1.5 bath houses. But otherwise, pivot just west, you get some spots that are, so you'll see more vinyl siding houses too, like on this side, because you got 80s, 90s style. But for the price, mid-4s, larger size houses, some Cape Cods over here, you'll find a lot of, good value in places like this in the Hickory School District, which is hard to find in that price range. I'd say it's worth targeting for sure. Now, going back into Virginia Beach, if you want something that is more, say, like a combination of the yard size and larger. Answer your question. Hello, Sam. What do you think about Kempsville Lake? I will answer your question. I'll finish this up and answer your question, Richard. David, Tidewater has always been a law and order area, but early mid 90s, they became downright crazy with highway violations. It has been pretty intense, relatively speaking. I have heard that. So I'm sure there's a reason for that, but again, I don't know the depths behind that. You're welcome, Richard. Thank you very much. You're welcome for taking the time. Absolutely. Any questions you got, please feel free to drop them in the comments. But going back to the map for some spots in the Virginia Beach area that I still think are undervalued or affordable for what you're getting. Again, it's like what's considered affordable to people. It depends on what you're looking for, right? So if you want a bigger house, a 3,000 square foot house, you might find affordable is 550 or 600 as opposed to 300, which is an affordable house for a 3-bedroom, 2-bath. So like, for example, Kemp Woods, great affordable spot for a bigger size house. So shifting back into Virginia Beach for something that is more affordable, there are a couple of spots I like. One is Thoroughgood. I'm going to mention this in more detail in another video soon, but I love Thoroughgood for a variety of reasons. One is it's got a lot of size. The yard sizes are amazing. Oh, geez. Okay, there we go. It's fantastic. The GPS or the Google Maps is crazy in here. But you see these ranch style houses. They're not all ranches. There are some decent amounts of in here, but the yard sizes are a lot bigger than you would expect for a house you can often get in the 5s or 6s. You can pay more. You'll see some in here from the 7s. You'll see some in here in the 8s, $900, $1 million. Over that, because you're going to be getting into the waterfront. Waterfront is going to be $1 million plus. That's just the way it is, because you're also getting some great waterfront access that's close to the Lesnar Bridge in this whole section into the Chesapeake Bay. So to be able to be close to that section, take your boat out if you're on the water, get over there is awesome. You close to Church Point. I'm not personally a fan of Church Point. I don't like Church Point because it's a huge house for not much land, and you're paying a lot for it. So I'm like, all right, just pivot down to Thoroughgood, in my opinion. Unless you just want a newer house, like built in the 90s, I believe is when they were built-ish. Anyways. However, one of my opinions about older houses is that, yes, there are some drawbacks to older houses. And this is something worth mentioning, like a Thoroughgood, like an Acredale. These types of areas, they have some things to focus on. One, sewer lines. I have close friends that have had sewer lines need to be replaced recently. A lot of other people I've talked to, it's just getting to be that time in the 60s, 50s houses, they're starting to be needing replacement. Sewer lines from the street to the house, they need it sometimes $10,000, $12,000. Be aware of that. Kind of want to make sure, see if if you're looking at a house, see if that one has been replaced or needs to be replaced, see how the drainage works. That's number one. Number two is you're going to get a lot of mishmash with repair work. You're going to have, 50 years of plumbing stuff that was done, or electrical stuff that was done, or rewiring that's been done. So see if anything needs to be rewired. You've got panel stuff that could be done. However, with all the old retroactive stuff that's in an older house, you're going to have things, for example, HVAC, roof, what am I missing? Water heater, even floor in some cases, if they replace the floor. You're going to find a lot, HVAC, there are a lot of roof. Those larger, more expensive things are going to start needing to be replaced after about age 20-ish. So you can buy a house built in 2005 and only have like 3 or 4 more years left or less on those systems, which means you may have to start paying and putting work into the house in a house that you might have thought that you may not have had to spend too much money on because it felt new. Go to a house built in the 60s, that person, if you buy a house from a person that has a house built in the 60s, they may have already done the roof, HVAC, water heater, all these things in the last couple of years. And so now you're walking into a whole situation that is, to me, really well built. I think better built, but personally, it's well built. Well-built house with new systems. It's a great situation if you get the right house. So I would say just be aware. It's not like it's a foolproof. It doesn't appeal to everybody. But I definitely think the older 60s, 50s houses can really work for a lot of people. Also, too, those compartmentalized rooms, floor plan stuff, all that stuff can be it can still be a problem for some people that want an open floor plan. You'll see houses in Thoroughgood, for example, get opened up quite a bit. I have a client that just got a house in Thoroughgood. It's an awesome house, but it has just that, walls that were opened up, additions, etc. So this is a great spot for the access to a lot of other things. Great school district, Princess Anne, close to multiple parks, close to multiple restaurants that are very good, close to multiple large main roads. For example, Shore Drive, which is Route 60 up here. Also a military highway, which runs up here closer to Chicks Beach all the way down. This turns into the Chesapeake Bay Bridge, which you don't have to go up there too much, but it's there. Also, you're close to Little Creek Amphibious Base. Also close to NOB. Those two spots over there. You're 15, 20 minutes max away from both of those. as well as down to Oceana. It's further, but you're not super far away from there either. 30 minutes or so is my guess. But in general, you're easily accessible to a lot of stuff, close to parks, close to First Landing State Park over here, and you're also close to water access as well as Chicks Beach. So just all kinds of things that I think checked a lot of boxes for Thoroughgood. So for what you're paying for, I think it's very affordable for all the amenities that you're going to get. Someone could argue for a $650,000 house, which is often you would find in Thoroughgood, or $550, doesn't feel affordable for someone that wants to pay $350. I understand that. Again, it's contextual to the area for what you're paying for. You can't get a 3,000 square foot house in a 350 neighborhood, for example, in Virginia Beach. So, moving back over into one more spot I want to mention. Oh, David. Oh yeah, David. Out of the flight path of the airbase. Good point about that. It's away from the Oceana Naval Air Station, which is another great point about being over into Thoroughgood. I love. Very good point. And then also Great Neck Meadows, as well as Highland Parish. There are two other quick options I'll throw out as you go further down south. So anywhere into Great Neck, I'm sorry, that was Ocean Lakes, but Highland Parish is further down south. But Great Neck Meadows is a spot just off of Old Donation Parkway. This area has some spots that, you're in the fives, but if you want to be in Great Neck, which it's got some very great features to it, you're kind of paying for location in Great Neck Meadows and just in general in Great Neck. Very nice houses. You get a mixture in here. You get ranches. You get kind of like the 70s and 80s style, a little bit more. Some ranch, like not mid-century modern, but just a little bit different. If you want something just a little bit different, you can go into Great Neck Meadows and get something like that. Like that different type of ranch style, a little bit more of a sprawling ranch, but like unique garages. You see that. But then you also have the larger two-story as well. So I like this area, Great Neck. If you want to be in Great Neck for the price, and we're talking in the fives primarily, sixes in some cases, you might be able to squeak into the upper fours, but mostly in the fives, solid in that $575 price range. You're close to other stuff too. You're close to a hospital right there, Centera. But you're also close to multiple main roads. First Colonial and Great Neck are right there. You're in First Colonial School District, I believe. If you're not in Cox, I cannot actually remember. Cox and First Colonial are close to each other. You might actually be in First Colonial. But anyways, you're also close to Cape Henry Collegiate, where there's your private school. If you want private school, it's one of the premier private schools in the area. And you're also close to the North Great Neck area, which is close to the beach. The Chicks Beach area is not too far away. You can also get water access. There's a great boatel, I guess is a boatel in Lynnhaven Inlet in this section as well. Where are we at? We're over here near Long Point. Some great spots over there to eat. That Porch on Long Creek's great, awesome restaurant with a great view. So you have good access to some beach spots, as well as access to Hilltop, which is further south, the shopping area that's like the Greenbrier of the Eastern Virginia Beach area. Lots of shopping, lots of restaurants. Baladi is one of my favorite Mediterranean places. I'm not sure why I said Baladi. It's crazy. Good, like access to Total Wine, a good beer and wine place, very good. A lot of restaurants in here, Walmart, Target, Trader Joe's, all close by. So this is your Greenbrier spot that has a lot of access points, as well as the oceanfront itself you're close to. So Great Neck Meadows is great. The drawback is you're going to be close to the Oceana Naval Air Station. You're right here. There it is, right there. Not more than 3 miles south, but you're going to hear jets. You're going to hear it, especially on the top or the bottom 2/3 of Great Neck. You're going to be hearing jets. It just gets more extreme as you go further south. So that's the one I'd say of any of the spots in the South Great Neck area. That's the spot I would mention as the primary focus of anywhere around Great Neck. Yeah, David, it's quiet out there. It's quiet. Yeah, much quieter. Excuse me. So Trey, is there more of a risk and reward factor if you forego a home inspection? In my viewpoint, I would walk if inspection was not in the offer. I've heard too many stories of bad buys due to this. Great question. There is a risk reward that does factor in, like there is a pro and con balance here. It depends on the house, number one, and I don't mean to be vague with that, but it does matter as far as the length, the amount of risk. But there is risk in any situation like that to not get a home inspection. I've seen situations where people get houses accepted with either waiving an inspection or doing like a varied version of it. I never personally recommend that because I think that, it's it's a big purchase and you need to make sure you know what you're getting. Virginia is a buyer beware state. It's very important. That's number one. Number two is there are ways to get a home inspection as well. And there's strategies to kind of get one and also, maybe not feel like you're asking too much from the seller at the same time. So there are variations of that. But again, in general, I'm not a fan of waiving inspections. I wouldn't do that because what you're also doing is you're not only not getting the home inspection, you're kind of waiving there are consequences. I guess there are consequences to not just getting your own inspection. You can't go back for anything, really easily later on in the process. It's very hard to. It's hard to anyway, but it's much harder to if you do that. So I'd be very careful about that. So yeah, the stories. There are different types of stories I think that can come from waiving a home inspection as well. But again, I say that definitely is something I would be very aware of. But it just depends on the situation as to what you might find is the best conclusion. But I definitely would not recommend it myself. I wouldn't buy a car if I didn't test drive it. So I wouldn't buy a house without the inspection report from a third party. I mean, I'm good. Yep. I think that's reasonable. that's a very reasonable approach. Now, again, there's different things that you can find out, like polybutylene pipes in houses built in the early 90s, right? That wouldn't be an issue in the house built in like 2007. But there might be something else built in the houses built in 2007. There's things that you can find in random situations. I would also say, sometimes getting surveys can really help too. I recommend surveys because you can also find if there's a title defect due to finding out in the survey. It can help influence whether or not you want to buy the house either if it's contingent on that survey. So there's a lot of stuff like that I think would be worth considering. If you're in the mindset of I really want a specific house, but I need to be competitive, like there are different ways to strategize to kind of make sure you're not going well over and above what you're comfortable with. But yeah, risk reward there for sure. So as of now, I'm going to conclude this evening. If you've got any other questions, feel free to leave them in the comments now. I can answer them now. Otherwise, that's the show for this evening, if I can say that. But I can answer anything you've got now. I concluded the neighborhood section. It's going to be repeated on my channel as well. If you have any other ideas or any feedback you want for more videos about living in not just Virginia Beach, through Williamsburg, because again, I work with a lot of people that are moving to Williamsburg instead, because I love Williamsburg compared to what you can find in other parts of town. It's all based on price. So it just depends, but I love the Williamsburg area as well. So I help people from all over the world do this. So if you have any questions, obviously feel free at any time I'll drop my email here. This is my email address. You can email me at any point, and I'll leave you my cell phone and you can text it or call as well. That's my email and also my cell phone number that you can contact me too, as well as also my website. You can peruse the internet if you'd like, or not the internet, peruse real estate if you want to. There are plenty of sites that are great. I'm not saying mine's any better or worse, but it's another one. I would actually say combining mine with Redfin is probably, to me, the best combination, because Redfin tells you when houses are under contract, whereas most other sites won't, including Zillow. Redfin will tell you when a house is contingent or under contract. So you're not searching through and wondering why is this house still on the market in week 3? It hasn't. It's probably been sold for the last 2.5 weeks, but you just never knew it because Zillow doesn't tell you, as well as most other real estate sites as well. So Redfin's a great option that I like to encourage people to use in conjunction with my site as well. And there's my website. Not complicated because it's my name, possibly complicated because it is my name and it's not always the easiest to spell. So there's my name, there's my info there. If you have any other questions after this, please drop in the comments, any thank you, or these videos are awful. Anything you think is helpful to give me constructive criticism, I'm open to all of it. I think you might know at this point, I am never thinking I'm too big for my britches to take any sort of constructive criticism. So anything, but also just let me know if you have any more needs. I love helping people and I love giving feedback on spots that I love, because I love this area. I love Hampton Roads. I love Virginia Beach. I love Williamsburg. I love Chesapeake. I love it all. I just love living here, and I've been here my whole life. So I plan to have that be the case and continuing to do so. So please let me know if you have any questions. I look forward to helping you in the future, and keep watching too. There are more videos you can watch as well. You can check out to learn more about the area too. And I will see you on the next video.